You have been calling the wrong name. You have been speaking the wrong words. You have been praying the wrong way. And that is why your body has not healed. That is why your condition persists. That is why you have watched others receive their miracles while you continue to suffer in silence and wonder what is wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. There is only something you have not yet learned, a secret that the great healers have always known, a truth that transforms ordinary words into instruments of divine restoration. When you call upon the name of God correctly, when you speak with authority instead of begging with desperation, when you command healing instead of requesting it, something shifts in the invisible realm. The subconscious mind receives your instruction, and the infinite intelligence that created your body begins immediately to restore it. Today, you will learn exactly how to call upon this sacred name. You will discover why your previous prayers have fallen short, and you will receive the precise method that has healed thousands who once believed their conditions were permanent. Your healing is not years. There is a name that carries within it the power to heal every sickness, to restore every broken body, to renew every weary organ, and to bring perfect wholeness to every cell and tissue and fiber of your being. And this name has been available to you since the moment you drew your first breath, waiting only for you to learn how to call upon it with understanding, with faith, with the conviction that what you speak into the invisible realm must manifest in the visible world of your body and your life. This name is not a magic word that works through superstition or through mindless repetition. It is not a formula that operates apart from your own consciousness. It is not something external that you must beg and plead with in the hope that some distant deity will hear your cry and decide whether or not to grant your request, for the name of God is not separate from you. It is the very essence of the creative power that formed your body in the womb, that beats your heart 60 times each minute, that digests your food and heals your wounds, and maintains every function of your organism without any conscious effort on your part. When you call upon the name of God for healing, you are not calling to something outside yourself. You are awakening to the infinite healing presence that dwells at the center of your own being. You are aligning your conscious mind with the subconscious wisdom that already knows how to create perfect health. You are opening the door through which the life force can flow without obstruction into every area of your body that requires restoration. The sages and mystics of every age have known this truth. The healers and prophets of every tradition have demonstrated this power, and now you are being invited to join their ranks, to take your place among those who understand that the name of God is not merely something to be recited, but something to be embodied, something to be felt, something to be lived in every moment of your existence. Watch healing work today, for this is not a promise for some distant future. This is not a hope that requires years of waiting. This is the reality that begins the moment you truly understand what it means to call upon the name of the infinite healing presence, and to expect with absolute certainty that your call will be answered. The healing you seek is not far from you. It is not hidden in some distant realm that requires special knowledge to access. It is as close as your own breath, as near as your own heartbeat, as immediate as the thoughts you are thinking right now. For the name of God is written in every cell of your body, encoded in every strand of your being. And when you call upon this name with faith, you are simply activating what has always been there. You are awakening what has merely been sleeping. You are opening what has only been closed. This is the secret that transforms lives. This is the key that unlocks the door to healing. This is the truth that sets the sick free from their bondage and restores them to the wholeness that was always their birthright. And this secret is now yours to use whenever you need it, wherever you are, whatever condition you face. The name of God has been called by many titles throughout human history. It has been spoken in countless languages and pronounced in endless variations. Yet beneath all these names there is one essential truth that remains constant and unchanging. And that truth is this: that whatever name you give to the infinite creative intelligence that governs this universe, That name represents a power that responds to your belief, that honors your faith, that manifests according to your expectation. When you call upon the name of God, you are not engaging in an empty ritual, you are not performing a religious duty, you are activating the most powerful force in all of existence, the creative power that spoke the worlds into being, that set the stars in their courses, that designed your body with such magnificent precision that even the greatest scientists can only marvel at its complexity. This power does not require that you use any particular name. It does not demand that you follow any specific formula. It does not care whether you approach it through one tradition or another, for the infinite intelligence that heals is beyond all human categories and classifications. It responds not to the syllables you speak, but to the conviction in your heart, not to the words on your lips, but to the faith in your soul. Yet there is something profound that happens when you speak the name aloud, when you give voice to your intention, when you declare with authority that healing is taking place in your body right now, for the spoken word carries a vibration. It creates a wave of energy that penetrates the subconscious mind and impresses upon it the pattern of health you are commanding. This is why the ancient scriptures speak of the creative power of the word. This is why you are told that by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. For the words you speak about your health become the blueprint from which your subconscious mind builds your physical reality. Call upon the name of God today, speak healing into your body with authority, and watch as the infinite power within you responds to your command. The name you choose matters less than the faith with which you speak it. The tradition you follow matters less than the conviction you bring to your practice. For the infinite intelligence that heals does not recognize the boundaries that human beings have created between their various religions and philosophies. It recognizes only the sincerity of your heart, the depth of your belief, the consistency of your expectation. And when these are aligned with the intention of healing, the power must flow, the restoration must begin, the wholeness must manifest. This is the law that governs all healing. This is the principle that underlies all restoration. And when you understand this law and apply this principle, you become a conscious participant in your own healing. Rather than a passive victim of your circumstances, you become a co-creator with the infinite rather than a helpless petitioner hoping for mercy. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had been diagnosed with a condition that her doctors called incurable. They had given her no hope of recovery. They had suggested she prepare herself for a life of limitation and suffering. And yet something within her refused to accept this verdict. Something within her knew that there was a power greater than any medical prognosis, a healing presence that transcended the boundaries of what human science believed possible. She began to call upon the name of God every morning and every evening. She spoke to the infinite healing presence within her, as though it were a friend, a companion, a partner in her journey toward wholeness. And she declared with quiet confidence that the same power that had created her body in the beginning was now restoring it to perfect function, that every cell was being renewed, that every system was being brought into harmony and balance. She did not beg, she did not plead, she did not approach this practice with desperation or fear, for she understood that the subconscious mind responds not to weak petitions, but to confident commands. Not to trembling hope, but to steadfast conviction. Weeks passed, and then months, and gradually she began to notice changes in her body. Symptoms that had plagued her for years began to diminish. Energy that she had not felt in decades began to return, and when she finally returned to her doctors for examination, they could find no trace of the condition they had once called incurable. They had no explanation for what had happened. They attributed it to spontaneous remission, to some unknown factor they could not identify, but she knew exactly what had healed her. She knew that calling upon the name of God with faith and expectation had awakened a healing power that dwells within every human being, waiting only to be called upon with understanding and trust. Her story is not unique. Her experience is not rare. For throughout history, countless men and women have discovered this same truth, have applied this same principle, have called upon this same name with this same faith, have received this same restoration, and their testimonies stand as evidence that the healing power of God is not a theory to be debated, but a reality to be experienced, not a hope to be wished for, but a law to be applied, not a miracle reserved for the few, but a birthright available to all. What she discovered, you can discover. What she experienced, you can experience. What healed her can heal you, for the name of God plays no favorites. The healing presence shows no partiality, and the same power that restored her body to perfect function is available to you right now, waiting only for you to call upon it with the same faith, the same persistence, the same quiet confidence that transformed her life completely. The healing power of the name of God operates according to a law that is as precise and reliable as any law of physics or chemistry. It is not random. It is not capricious. It does not favor some people while ignoring others. It responds with mathematical exactness to the conditions that are presented to it, and those conditions are determined by your own belief, your own expectation, your own mental and emotional state when you call upon this sacred name. This law does not judge whether you deserve to be healed. It does not evaluate whether you have been good enough or faithful enough or worthy enough. For the law itself is impersonal. It operates the same for everyone who learns how to work with it. Just as the law of gravity does not ask whether you are a saint or a sinner before it pulls you toward the earth, when you plant a seed in fertile soil and provide it with water and sunlight, it grows not because the soil has decided you deserve a harvest, but because the conditions for growth have been met. And in exactly the same way, when you plant the seed of healing in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind through calling upon the name of God with faith, that seed must grow, that healing must manifest, for the law cannot fail to produce according to what has been planted. Your part is not to beg or to plead or to wonder whether your prayer will be answered. Your part is to speak the name with conviction, to hold the image of perfect health in your mind, to refuse all doubt and fear that would contradict your intention, and then to release your prayer into the infinite, knowing that the law is already working, that healing is already taking place, that the restoration you have commanded is already being accomplished in the invisible realm before it appears in the visible world of your body. This understanding changes everything about how you approach healing prayer. It removes the anxiety and the uncertainty and the desperate pleading that characterizes so many people's attempts to receive help from the divine. For when you understand that you are working with a law, you can approach your practice with the same confidence that a farmer approaches planting, knowing that if the conditions are met, the harvest must come, knowing that if the seed is properly planted, the growth must occur, knowing that the law cannot fail those who learn to work with it correctly. The law is no respecter of persons. It does not know rich or poor, young or old, educated or simple. It knows only belief and doubt, faith and fear, expectation and despair, and it responds to each according to the dominant pattern of their consciousness, which is why the same prayer that heals one person seems to fail for another, not because the law is inconsistent, but because the consciousness of the two people was different. There are those who call upon the name of God with their lips, while their hearts remain full of doubt, who speak the words of healing while their minds continue to entertain images of sickness, who pray for restoration in the morning and then spend the rest of the day thinking about all the ways their condition might worsen, and these divided prayers, these contradictory commands, cannot produce the healing results they seek. For the subconscious mind receives everything you give it, not just the moments of faith, but also the hours of fear, not just the declarations of health, but also the worries about disease. This is why Jesus said that when you pray, you must believe that you have already received what you ask for. This is why the ancient wisdom teaches that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, for true faith is not wishing that something might happen. It is knowing with absolute certainty that it has already happened in the realm of mind, and must therefore appear in the realm of matter. When you call upon the name of God for healing, you must call with your whole being. Your words and your thoughts and your feelings must all be aligned in a single direction, all moving toward the same goal, all affirming the same truth that healing is taking place right now, that every cell in your body is responding right now to the creative command you have spoken. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Do not allow doubt to creep in through the back door while faith stands at the front. Do not speak health in the morning and sickness in the afternoon, for the subconscious mind is always listening, always building your body according to the dominant thoughts and beliefs that you hold most consistently and most emotionally. The person who prays for 5 minutes and worries for 5 hours has not truly prayed at all. They have merely engaged in a ritual that their own subsequent thinking has nullified. They have planted a seed and then immediately dug it up to see if it was growing. They have given a command and then countermanded it with 100 contradictions, and the subconscious mind, receiving these mixed messages, can only produce mixed results or no results at all. Unity of consciousness is the key to effective prayer. Singleness of purpose is the secret of those who receive what they ask for. And when your words and your thoughts and your feelings and your expectations are all aligned in the direction of healing, the power flows without obstruction, and the manifestation comes quickly and completely. For there is nothing to oppose it, nothing to dilute it, nothing to redirect it away from its intended destination. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had struggled with a painful condition for more than 20 years. He had tried every treatment that medicine offered. He had consulted specialists and undergone procedures and taken countless medications, yet nothing had provided lasting relief. And he had come to believe that he was simply destined to live with this pain for the rest of his days. When he first heard about the power of calling upon the name of God for healing, he was skeptical. He had been raised to believe that prayer was something you did in church on Sunday, not something that could actually change physical conditions in your body, yet his desperation drove him to try what he had once dismissed. He began to speak to the infinite healing presence within him each night before sleep, addressing it by the name that felt most sacred to him, thanking it for the healing that was already taking place, affirming that every nerve and every cell was being restored to perfect function. He did this not with the anxious pleading of someone hoping for a miracle, but with the quiet confidence of someone who understood that he was working with a law, a principle, a power that must respond to properly directed belief. Within 3 months, the pain that had tortured him for 2 decades began to fade. Within 6 months, it had disappeared entirely. And he knew that what medicine had failed to accomplish in 20 years, the proper use of his own mind in cooperation with the infinite healing presence had accomplished in a matter of months. He had learned the secret that changes everything, that the name of God is not merely something to be spoken, but a power to be trusted, not merely a word to be pronounced, but a presence to be experienced. He had learned the secret that changes everything, that the name of God is not merely something to be spoken, but a power to be trusted, not merely a word to be pronounced, but a presence to be experienced. His healing was not a miracle in the sense that it violated natural law. It was a miracle in the sense that it demonstrated natural law operating at a level that most people never experience. For the law of healing is always available, it is always working, it is always ready to respond, but most people never learn how to activate it, never discover how to call upon it correctly, never understand that the name of God carries within it all the power needed to restore any condition and heal any disease. His story could be your story. His transformation could be your transformation. For the same power that healed him is available to you right now, waiting only for you to call upon it, with the same faith and the same consistency and the same expectation that brought him from decades of suffering to complete restoration, that brought him from hopelessness to wholeness, that brought him from pain to peace. The name of God represents the totality of all healing power, the summation of all restorative energy, the infinite source from which all health and wholeness flow. And when you call upon this name, you are not asking for a small portion of this power. You are not requesting a limited measure of this energy. You are opening yourself to receive the fullness of the creative force that designed and maintains your body. There is no condition too serious for this power to heal. There is no disease too advanced for this energy to restore. There is no situation too hopeless for this presence to transform, for the power that created the universe out of nothing certainly has the capacity to rebuild a human body, to regenerate damaged tissue, to eliminate disease, to restore perfect function to every organ and system. The only limitation upon this healing power is the limitation you place upon it through your own belief. The only boundary around what it can accomplish is the boundary you create through your own doubt and fear, for the infinite itself has no limits. But your capacity to receive from the infinite is determined by the size of the container you bring, and that container is your consciousness, your expectation, your willingness to accept that healing is not only possible but inevitable when you properly align yourself with the source of all life. Enlarge your vision of what is possible. Expand your expectation of what healing can accomplish. Refuse to place any ceiling on what the name of God can do in your body and in your life. For the moment you decide that something cannot be healed, you have already blocked the very power that could heal it. You have already closed the door through which restoration could enter. The infinite healing presence does not recognize the categories of curable and incurable that human medicine has created. It does not consult medical textbooks before deciding what is possible. It operates according to its own laws, which transcend all human limitation. And when you call upon this presence with faith that matches its power, there is nothing it cannot accomplish in your body, nothing it cannot restore, nothing it cannot heal. Do not measure the healing power by what you have seen. Measure it by what the infinite can do. Do not limit your expectation by past failures. Open your expectation to possibilities you have never imagined. For the name of God carries within it resources that no human mind can fully comprehend, and those who approach this name with unlimited faith receive unlimited results. Those who expect great things from the infinite, those who refuse to place boundaries around what healing can accomplish, find that healing accomplishes far more than they ever dared to hope. The technique for calling upon the name of God is simple, so simple that many reject it because they believe healing must require something more complicated, more difficult, more worthy of the results they seek. Yet this simplicity is not a weakness but a strength. For the most powerful truths in this universe are always simple. The greatest laws operate through the most direct means, and the healing presence responds not to elaborate rituals, but to sincere conviction, not to lengthy ceremonies, but to heartfelt faith. Here is what you do. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed, close your eyes, and turn your attention inward, and speak to the infinite healing presence within you, by whatever name feels most sacred and powerful to you. Whether you call it God, or infinite intelligence, or the healing presence, or any other name that connects you with the source of all life. Speak to this presence as though it were a loving friend, as though it were listening with complete attention and infinite care, for indeed it is. The subconscious mind is always receptive, always ready to receive and act upon the commands you give it. Declare that healing is taking place in your body right now. Affirm that every cell is being restored to perfect function. Visualize yourself whole and healthy and filled with vitality. And most importantly, feel the reality of this healing as though it has already been accomplished. For feeling is the language of the subconscious, and what you feel with intensity becomes the blueprint from which your body is built. Do not rush through this practice as though it were an obligation to be completed. Take your time. Allow yourself to sink deeply into the consciousness of health. Let every word you speak carry the weight of your conviction. Let every image you hold shine with the clarity of your expectation, for the depth of your engagement determines the depth of your results. The quality of your practice determines the quality of your healing, and those who approach the name of God with reverence and focus and sincere feeling will find that the healing presence responds with power and speed and thoroughness that matches the quality of their approach. Morning and evening are the most powerful times for this practice, for in the morning you set the tone for your entire day, and in the evening you impress your subconscious just before it enters the creative state of sleep, but you can call upon the name of God at any moment, in any place, under any circumstances, for the healing presence is always with you, always listening, always ready to respond to anyone who speaks to it with faith. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had been scheduled for surgery to remove a growth that her doctors had discovered during a routine examination. The procedure was set for 3 weeks in the future, and in the meantime, she decided to apply what she had learned about the healing power of the name of God. Every morning upon waking and every evening before sleep, she entered a state of deep relaxation and spoke directly to the infinite healing presence within her. She thanked it for dissolving the growth. She affirmed that her body was restoring itself to perfect order. She visualized the area in question as completely healthy and normal. She did not fight against the medical diagnosis. She did not deny what the doctors had found. She simply held a higher truth in her mind. She focused on the healing outcome rather than the present condition. She gave her attention to what she wanted rather than to what she feared. When she returned to the hospital for the pre-surgical examination, the doctors were confused. They ran additional tests. They consulted with colleagues. But the results were undeniable. The growth that had been clearly visible on the previous scan could no longer be found. It had simply disappeared. It had dissolved as though it had never existed. The surgery was canceled. The woman went home healthy and whole, and she carried with her the unshakable knowledge that the name of God is not merely a religious concept, but a living power, an active force, a healing presence that responds to faith with results that defy medical explanation. She had not wished her condition away. She had not pretended it did not exist. She had simply aligned her consciousness with a higher reality. She had called upon a power greater than the condition. She had held in her mind an image of health that was more real to her than the image on the medical scan, and her body had responded to this higher image by conforming itself to the pattern she had established in her consciousness. Her experience demonstrates what is possible when you combine the medical resources available to you with the mental and spiritual resources that calling upon the name of God provides. For these are not competing approaches, they are complementary. And those who use both often find that their results exceed what either approach could accomplish alone, that the combination of outer treatment and inner healing creates a synergy that accelerates restoration beyond all expectation. When you call upon the name of God, you are engaging with the creative principle that underlies all existence. You are tapping into the same power that causes seeds to sprout, that transforms caterpillars into butterflies, that heals cuts and mends broken bones without any conscious direction from your rational mind. This power is not supernatural. It is supremely natural. It is the very essence of nature itself, the intelligence that governs every process of growth and restoration and renewal in the entire created order. Your body is made of the same substance as the stars. It is organized by the same intelligence that holds galaxies in their courses. It is animated by the same life force that causes flowers to bloom and rivers to flow toward the sea. When you call upon the name of God, you are not asking for something foreign to be added to your body. You are not requesting that some outside entity intervene in your physical processes. You are simply awakening to the healing power that has been within you all along. You are removing the mental blocks that have prevented this power from flowing freely. You are aligning your conscious thoughts with the subconscious wisdom that already knows how to create and maintain perfect health. This is not faith healing in the sense that most people understand that term. This is not about believing something irrational or denying the reality of physical conditions. This is about understanding that your mind and your body are one system, that your thoughts directly influence your physical state, and that when you change the dominant patterns of your consciousness, your body must follow. The name of God is simply the key that unlocks this understanding. It is the doorway through which you enter into conscious cooperation with the healing intelligence that has been operating in your body since before you were born. Maintaining your systems, fighting your infections, healing your injuries, and waiting only for you to learn how to direct its power toward whatever condition now requires its attention. You are not bringing in a foreign force. You are awakening a resident power. You are not importing healing from somewhere else. You are releasing the healing that has always been here, and this understanding removes all mystery from the process and reveals it as the most natural thing in the world, as natural as breathing, as natural as sleeping, as natural as life itself. There is a reason why so many of the great healers throughout history have used the spoken word as their primary instrument of restoration. There is a purpose behind the ancient practice of speaking commands to disease and declaring health over the sick. For the spoken word carries a power that silent thought alone does not possess. When you speak the name of God aloud, when you give voice to your healing intentions, when you declare with authority that wholeness is being restored to your body, the vibration of your voice creates a wave that penetrates more deeply into the subconscious mind than thought alone. It engages more of your being in the healing process. It commits you more fully to the outcome you are seeking. This is why the scriptures say that life and death are in the power of the tongue. This is why the ancient texts declare that God spoke the worlds into existence, for there is creative power in the spoken word. There is something about giving voice to your intentions that solidifies them, that makes them more real, that brings them closer to manifestation. When you call upon the name of God, do not merely think your healing thoughts, speak them aloud, declare them with confidence. Let the walls of your room hear your affirmations. Let the cells of your body hear your commands, for your body is listening. Every organ and tissue and cell is paying attention to the words you speak, and when you speak health with authority, your body responds by producing health. The spoken word also has the advantage of requiring your focused attention, for you cannot speak something clearly while thinking about something else, and this focus is essential to effective healing prayer, for scattered thoughts produce scattered results but concentrated intention. Expressed through the spoken word creates a laser beam of healing energy that penetrates directly to the condition you are addressing. Speak your healing into existence. Declare your wholeness with authority. Let your voice carry the conviction of your heart, and the subconscious mind, fearing and receiving your command, will set to work immediately to manifest in your body the health you have spoken. For the word spoken in faith is the creative agent that transforms the invisible into the visible, the potential into the actual. Every word you speak is a creative act. Every declaration is a command to your subconscious. And when you learn to speak only words of health and wholeness, your body has no choice but to produce health and wholeness in response. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had been suffering from a condition that affected his ability to perform his work. His livelihood was threatened, his future seemed uncertain, and fear had begun to consume his thoughts day and night, creating a vicious cycle in which anxiety worsened his symptoms and worsening symptoms increased his anxiety. He decided to make a radical change in his approach. He committed to calling upon the name of God every hour during his waking day, not with lengthy prayers, but with brief, powerful declarations that took only a few seconds to speak, but carried the full weight of his conviction. He would pause in his work, close his eyes for a moment, and declare that the infinite healing presence was restoring him to perfect function, that health and strength were flowing into every part of his body, that he was whole and capable and strong. At first, nothing seemed to change. His symptoms persisted. His fears continued to whisper their doubts. But he refused to give up. He understood that he was reprogramming a subconscious pattern that had been established over years, and such patterns do not change overnight. By the third week, he noticed that his anxiety had begun to diminish. By the sixth week, his symptoms had reduced significantly. By the 3rd month he had returned to full function, and his doctors were amazed at his recovery. He had learned that persistence in calling upon the name of God is not optional. It is essential. For you are not merely speaking words, you are imprinting a new pattern upon your subconscious mind, and that imprinting requires repetition, consistency, and unwavering faith. He had learned that persistence in calling upon the name of God is not optional. It is essential. For you are not merely speaking words, you are imprinting a new pattern upon your subconscious mind, and that imprinting requires repetition, consistency, and unwavering faith. The subconscious mind does not change its patterns easily. It has been conditioned by years of habitual thinking, and the new pattern of health must be impressed upon it with sufficient frequency and intensity to overcome the old pattern of disease, which is why daily practice, multiple times each day, is so important in the early stages of healing work. His breakthrough did not come from a single powerful prayer. It came from the accumulation of hundreds of small prayers, each one adding to the momentum, each one weakening the old pattern and strengthening the new, until finally the balance tipped and the healing manifested in full, until finally the new pattern became dominant and his body had no choice but to conform to it. The name of God that you call upon is less important than the spirit in which you call, less significant than the faith with which you speak, for the infinite intelligence that heals does not recognize the words of any particular language as more sacred than another. It responds to the consciousness behind the words, the belief beneath the syllables, the conviction that animates the prayer. Whether you call upon Jehovah or Allah, whether you speak to Jesus or Buddha, whether you address the Divine Mother or the Cosmic Father, whether you use ancient Sanskrit names or simple words in your native tongue, the healing power responds the same. For all these names point to the same reality. All these words reach the same source. All these prayers arrive at the same destination, which is the infinite healing presence that dwells within your own subconscious mind. This does not mean that all religious teachings are identical. This does not mean that theology is unimportant. It simply means that when it comes to healing, the operative factor is your own consciousness, your own belief, your own expectation. And these inner states are what determine whether your prayer will produce results. Choose the name that resonates most deeply with your soul. Select the words that feel most powerful in your heart. Use the language that connects you most strongly with the source of all life. And then speak that name with faith, with conviction, with the certain knowledge that healing is taking place right now. Do not be distracted by arguments about which tradition has the truth or which name is most correct. When it comes to healing, the only truth that matters is the truth that heals, and the only name that matters is the name that opens your heart to receive the healing power that is always available to those who know how to ask. The infinite intelligence does not care what label you give it. It cares only that you approach it with faith, that you expect it to respond, that you open yourself to receive what it is always ready to give. And when these conditions are met, the name itself becomes a channel through which the healing power flows, regardless of what syllables compose that name or what tradition gave it birth, regardless of what language you speak or what religion you follow. The healing that comes from calling upon the name of God often begins in ways that are not immediately visible to the physical senses. It starts in the realm of mind and energy before it manifests in the realm of matter and form. And this is why patience and persistence are so essential to those who practice this method. Your body is not a solid structure that must be rebuilt brick by brick. It is a flowing pattern of energy that is being recreated moment by moment according to the blueprint held in your subconscious mind. And when you change that blueprint through proper use of the spoken word, the physical structure must eventually conform to the new pattern. Think of it like a river that has been flowing in a certain channel for many years. The banks are deeply carved, the course seems fixed and permanent, yet if you redirect the water consistently enough and long enough, a new channel will form, the old course will dry up, and what seemed unchangeable, will have been changed. Your disease patterns are like that river. They have carved deep channels in your consciousness through years of fearful thinking and negative expectation. And these channels will not be redirected by a single prayer or a few days of positive declaration. They require consistent effort, daily practice, unwavering commitment to the new direction you have chosen. Do not be discouraged if healing does not appear immediately. Do not lose faith if your symptoms persist for a time. Continue to call upon the name of God with confidence. Continue to imprint the pattern of health upon your subconscious mind, and trust that the river is being redirected. Even when you cannot yet see the new channel that is forming, do not be discouraged if healing does not appear immediately. Do not lose faith if your symptoms persist for a time. Continue to call upon the name of God with confidence. Continue to imprint the pattern of health upon your subconscious mind, and trust that the river is being redirected even when you cannot yet see the new channel that is forming. The invisible changes always precede the visible ones. The mental transformation always comes before the physical manifestation, and those who understand this principle are able to maintain their faith during the waiting period, knowing that every prayer spoken with conviction is moving them closer to the healing that must inevitably appear. Trust the process, honor the timing, and know that the infinite intelligence is working on your behalf even when your physical senses can detect no change, for the healing is happening in the invisible realm first, and what happens in the invisible realm must eventually appear in the visible. What is established in consciousness must eventually manifest in form. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had been told she would never recover from the injuries she had sustained in an accident. The damage was too extensive. The prognosis was permanent disability, and she would need to adjust her expectations for the rest of her life. She refused to accept this verdict, not because she was in denial about her condition, but because she understood a truth that her doctors did not know, that the same intelligence which had built her body in the first place was perfectly capable of rebuilding it now, that there is no statute of limitations on healing, that the creative power never says it is too late or too difficult or too impossible. She began to call upon the name of God with a specific focus. She directed the healing presence to the exact areas of her body that had been damaged. She visualized those areas being restored cell by cell, nerve by nerve, fiber by fiber, and she declared with authority that what doctors called impossible was simply a limitation of their knowledge, not a limitation of the infinite healing power. Month by month, year by year, she regained functions that she had been told she would never have again. She accomplished movements that had been declared permanently lost. She rebuilt a body that medical science had written off as irreparable. Her doctors could offer no explanation. They could only observe what had happened and shake their heads in wonder. But she knew that the name of God is not bound by medical textbooks, that the healing presence does not consult statistics before deciding what is possible, that the infinite intelligence responds to faith with outcomes that transcend all human limitation. Month by month, year by year, she regained functions that she had been told she would never have again. She accomplished movements that had been declared permanently lost. She rebuilt a body that medical science had written off as irreparable. Her doctors could offer no explanation. They could only observe what had happened and shake their heads in wonder. But she knew that the name of God is not bound by medical textbooks, that the healing presence does not consult statistics before deciding what is possible, that the infinite intelligence responds to faith with outcomes that transcend all human limitation. Her recovery was not instant. It required years of dedicated practice. But every day she called upon the name of God, she was adding another thread to the tapestry of her restoration. Every visualization she held was contributing to the pattern her body was learning to follow, and in the end, the accumulation of all those prayers, all those affirmations, all those moments of faith produced a result that stood as testimony to the unlimited power that awaits all who learn to call upon it correctly. Her story proves that no verdict is final, no prognosis is absolute, no limitation is permanent, for the name of God carries within it the power to reverse any condition and restore any function, no matter what human authorities may have declared. When you call upon the name of God for healing, you must call with the understanding that you are not creating something new. You are not adding something that was not there before. You are simply removing the obstacles that have been blocking the natural flow of health that is your birthright as a living being. Health is your natural state. Wholeness is your original condition. Disease is not something that has invaded you from outside. It is something that is developed because the flow of life force has been blocked, because mental patterns of fear and negativity have created dams in the river of your energy, because you have forgotten who you really are and what power lies dormant within you. The name of God reminds you of your true nature. It reconnects you with the source from which all healing flows. It opens the channels that have been closed by years of wrong thinking and fearful expectation. You do not need to create health. Health is already seeking to express itself through you. You need only to stop blocking it, to stop contradicting it with your doubts, to stop undermining it with your fears. Every time you call upon the name of God with faith, you remove another stone from the dam. You open another channel for the life force to flow through. You allow more of the healing presence to express itself in your body. This is why healing often seems to accelerate, why people report that nothing happened for weeks, and then suddenly everything changed. For the dam does not fall all at once, but when enough stones have been removed, the whole structure collapses and health comes flooding in. This is why healing often seems to accelerate, why people report that nothing happened for weeks, and then suddenly everything changed. For the dam does not fall all at once, but when enough stones have been removed, the whole structure collapses and health comes flooding in. Your healing has already begun. It began the moment you first called upon the name of God with sincere intention, and every subsequent prayer has been adding to the momentum, building the pressure behind the dam, preparing for the moment when the breakthrough will come, and health will rush into every area of your body that has been waiting to receive it. You are not fighting to create something that does not exist. You are surrendering to something that has always existed. You are not building health from scratch. You are revealing health that has been hidden. You are not adding something to yourself. You are removing what has been covering your natural wholeness. There is a connection between forgiveness and the healing power that comes through calling upon the name of God. A connection so vital that no discussion of this subject can be complete without addressing it directly. Unforgiveness is like a tourniquet around your healing. It cuts off the flow of life force. It blocks the very energy that you are trying to direct to your body through your prayers. It creates a contradiction in your consciousness that prevents the healing from manifesting. When you hold resentment toward another person, when you nurse grievances and rehearse old hurts, when you refuse to release those who have wronged you, you are not punishing them, you are poisoning yourself. You are filling your own consciousness with toxic energy that makes healing impossible. The name of God represents love, wholeness, unity, and these qualities cannot coexist with hatred, fragmentation, and separation in the same consciousness. They cannot occupy the same space, and if you insist on holding on to your resentments, you are essentially closing the door through which healing could enter. This is not a moral judgment. It is a practical necessity, for the subconscious mind works according to the dominant emotional tone of your consciousness, and if that tone is one of bitterness and unforgiveness, your body will reflect that inner state regardless of what words you speak in your prayers. Before you call upon the name of God for healing, call upon that same name for the grace to forgive. Release everyone who has ever hurt you, let go of every grievance you have been carrying, and then speak your healing declarations into a consciousness that is clear and open and ready to receive. This is not a moral judgment. It is a practical necessity, for the subconscious mind works according to the dominant emotional tone of your consciousness. And if that tone is one of bitterness and unforgiveness, Your body will reflect that inner state regardless of what words you speak in your prayers. Before you call upon the name of God for healing, call upon that same name for the grace to forgive. Release everyone who has ever hurt you. Let go of every grievance you have been carrying, and then speak your healing declarations into a consciousness that is clear and open and ready to receive. Forgiveness is not about excusing what others have done. It is not about saying that their actions were acceptable. It is about freeing yourself from the prison of your own bitterness so that the healing power can flow freely through your consciousness and into every cell of your body. Many people have discovered that when they finally forgive those they have been holding resentment against, their physical conditions begin to improve almost immediately, for the unforgiveness was the block, and when the block is removed, the healing flows naturally and freely, as water flows when the dam is broken. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had carried bitterness toward his father for more than 30 years. The old man had been harsh and critical. He had never expressed love or approval, and the wounds from those early years had festered into a deep resentment that covered everything in his life. He also suffered from chronic pain that no treatment had been able to relieve, and though he had tried calling upon the name of God for healing, nothing had changed. His condition remained as stubborn as it had always been. Dr. Joseph Murphy explained to him that his unforgiveness was blocking his healing, that the two conditions were connected, that he could not expect the divine power to flow freely through a consciousness that was clogged with old resentments. The man resisted at first. He felt that forgiving his father would be letting him off the hook, would be saying that what he did was acceptable. But eventually he understood that forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about freeing yourself from the prison of your own bitterness. He began to include forgiveness declarations in his healing prayers. He spoke release over his father each time he called upon the name of God. He visualized cutting the cords of resentment that had bound him for decades. Within weeks his pain began to diminish. Within months it had disappeared entirely, and he realized that he had been healed of two conditions at once, the physical pain and the emotional wound that had been causing it. For when he released his father, he released the block that had been preventing his own restoration. The man resisted at first. He felt that forgiving his father would be letting him off the hook, would be saying that what he did was acceptable, but eventually he understood that forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about freeing yourself from the prison of your own bitterness. He began to include forgiveness declarations in his healing prayers. He spoke release over his father each time he called upon the name of God. He visualized cutting the cords of resentment that had bound him for decades. Within weeks his pain began to diminish. Within months it had disappeared entirely, and he realized that he had been healed of two conditions at once, the physical pain and the emotional wound that had been causing it. For when he released his father, he released the block that had been preventing his own restoration. His story illustrates that sometimes the path to physical healing runs through emotional healing first, and that those who remove the blocks of unforgiveness often find that their bodies respond with remarkable speed once the inner obstacle has been cleared. Once the heart is free to receive what the mind has been commanding, the healing that comes from calling upon the name of God extends beyond the physical body to embrace the entire being. It reaches into the mind and emotions as readily as it penetrates the cells and organs. For in truth there is no separation between these aspects of yourself. They are all expressions of the one life force, all manifestations of the one consciousness, all subject to the one law that governs healing and restoration. If you suffer from anxiety, you can call upon the name of God for peace. If you struggle with depression, you can call upon that name for joy. If you are tormented by fear, you can call upon that name for courage and confidence. The same power that can heal a diseased organ can heal a troubled mind. The same presence that can restore physical function can restore emotional balance. The same intelligence that knows how to rebuild tissue knows how to rebuild your sense of self, your capacity for happiness, your ability to enjoy your life. Do not limit your healing prayers to your physical symptoms. Do not neglect the mental and emotional patterns that may be at the root of those symptoms, for the body and mind are not separate systems but one integrated whole, and true healing addresses the whole person, not merely the presenting complaint. When you call upon the name of God, call with the intention of total restoration, complete wholeness, healing on every level of your being. For the infinite intelligence does not portion out its power in limited quantities, it gives abundantly to all who ask with faith and expectation. Do not limit your healing prayers to your physical symptoms. Do not neglect the mental and emotional patterns that may be at the root of those symptoms, for the body and mind are not separate systems, but one integrated whole, and true healing addresses the whole person, not merely the presenting complaint. When you call upon the name of God, call with the intention of total restoration, complete wholeness, healing on every level of your being. For the infinite intelligence does not portion out its power in limited quantities, it gives abundantly to all who ask with faith and expectation. Many physical conditions have their roots in mental and emotional causes, and when you heal only the physical symptom without addressing the underlying pattern, the symptom often returns or is replaced by another. For the cause remains active, even though the effect has been temporarily removed. And true healing requires that the cause be addressed, that the mental and emotional patterns be transformed along with the physical condition they have produced. The name of God is powerful enough to heal all of these layers simultaneously, to restore body and mind and emotions in one integrated process of renewal and transformation. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had battled anxiety for as long as she could remember. It was her constant companion, her shadow, the lens through which she viewed every situation and every relationship in her life. She had tried medications and therapies and countless self-help techniques, but nothing had provided lasting relief, and she had come to believe that anxiety was simply part of who she was, something she would have to manage rather than overcome. When she began to call upon the name of God specifically for inner peace, something shifted in her consciousness. She began to experience moments of calm that she had never known before. Brief windows when the anxious chatter in her mind simply stopped and she felt connected to something larger than her fears. These moments grew longer and more frequent as she continued her practice. She found that each time she called upon the name of the infinite peace, that peace became more accessible to her, until gradually anxiety lost its grip on her life entirely. She had not just managed her anxiety, she had healed it at its root. She had replaced the fearful pattern in her subconscious mind with a pattern of peace and trust. And this transformation had happened not through fighting against her fear, but through flooding her consciousness with the presence of peace that comes when you call upon the name of God with faith. These moments grew longer and more frequent as she continued her practice. She found that each time she called upon the name of the infinite peace, that peace became more accessible to her, until gradually anxiety lost its grip on her life entirely. She had not just managed her anxiety, she had healed it at its root. She had replaced the fearful pattern in her subconscious mind with a pattern of peace and trust. And this transformation had happened not through fighting against her fear, but through flooding her consciousness with the presence of peace that comes when you call upon the name of God with faith. Her story demonstrates that the name of God can heal conditions that have nothing to do with physical disease, that it can restore mental and emotional balance just as effectively as it can restore bodily function. For the healing presence does not distinguish between different types of suffering. It responds to all sincere calls with the same power, the same love, the same readiness to restore whatever has been broken or disturbed. Her freedom from anxiety was as complete and as real as any physical healing. For the name of God addresses the whole person, not just the body. And those who call upon this name for peace find that peace comes to them as surely as health comes to those who call upon it for healing, as surely as the sun rises each morning. The technique of visualization strengthens the healing power of calling upon the name of God. It adds another dimension to your prayer. It engages the picture-making faculty of your mind in service of your restoration. The subconscious mind thinks in images. It responds to pictures more readily than to words alone, and when you combine the spoken name of God with a clear mental image of your healed condition, you are communicating with your subconscious in its own language. See yourself whole. See yourself healthy. See yourself doing the things you will do when your healing is complete. Engage all your senses in this inner vision. Feel the vitality flowing through your body. Hear the words of amazement from those who witness your recovery. Experience the joy and gratitude of your restored condition as though it were already accomplished. This is not wishful thinking. This is creative imaging. It is the deliberate use of your mental faculty to impress upon your subconscious the pattern you want it to build, the template you want it to use in constructing your physical experience. When you call upon the name of God while holding this image, you are giving the healing power both direction and form. You are telling it not only that you want to be healed, but showing it exactly what that healing looks like. And the subconscious mind, receiving this clear instruction, goes to work immediately to make the inner image into an outer reality. When you call upon the name of God while holding this image, you are giving the healing power both direction and form. You are telling it not only that you want to be healed, but showing it exactly what that healing looks like. And the subconscious mind, receiving this clear instruction, goes to work immediately to make the inner image into an outer reality. The more vivid your visualization, the more detailed your mental picture, the more fully you engage your emotions in the experience of your healed state, the more powerfully your subconscious will respond. For the subconscious does not distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a physically real one. It treats both with equal seriousness and responds to both with equal energy. Practice seeing yourself healthy. Practice feeling yourself whole. Practice living in your imagination the life you will live when your healing is complete. And the subconscious mind will accept this inner experience as the pattern it should follow in constructing your outer reality, as the blueprint from which your body should be built. The healing power that flows when you call upon the name of God need not be limited to yourself alone. You can direct this power toward others. You can pray for the healing of your loved ones with the same faith and expectation that you bring to your own restoration. When you hold another person in your heart and call upon the name of God on their behalf, you are creating a connection through which healing energy can flow to them. You are opening a channel that bypasses the limitations of physical space and reaches directly into their consciousness. This does not mean that you can heal someone against their will, for each person has their own subconscious patterns that must ultimately be addressed by their own consciousness. But it does mean that your loving prayers can support their healing, can add energy to their own efforts, can help tip the balance in favor of their restoration. Visualize your loved one as whole and healthy. See them radiant with vitality. Feel the joy of their recovery as though it has already occurred, and speak the name of God over them with the same authority and conviction you would bring to your own healing. You are not doing this to manipulate or control. You are doing it to love, and love is the greatest healing force in the universe, the energy that underlies all restoration. The power that flows through the name of God when that name is spoken with a sincere heart. Visualize your loved one as whole and healthy. See them radiant with vitality. Feel the joy of their recovery as though it has already occurred, and speak the name of God over them with the same authority and conviction you would bring to your own healing. You are not doing this to manipulate or control. You are doing it to love. And love is the greatest healing force in the universe, the energy that underlies all restoration, the power that flows through the name of God when that name is spoken with a sincere heart. Your prayers for others may be the catalyst they need to begin their own healing journey. Your faith may serve as a bridge until they can develop their own, and in this way, Those who learn to call upon the name of God become instruments of healing, not only for themselves but for everyone whose life they touch. The power you have learned to access is not for you alone. It is meant to flow through you to bless everyone you love, everyone who needs the healing that you have learned how to receive. For when you become a channel for the healing power, that power flows through you to touch everyone within your sphere of influence. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that his wife had been diagnosed with a serious illness. She was frightened and depressed, she had lost hope, and her negative mental state seemed to be accelerating her decline. He began to pray for her each night after she fell asleep, calling upon the name of God and visualizing the healing presence surrounding her, penetrating her body, restoring every cell to perfect function. He did not tell her what he was doing. He did not want to raise expectations that might be disappointed. He simply loved her enough to try anything that might help, even something that seemed as intangible as prayer. Over the following weeks, his wife began to change. Her spirits lifted, her color improved, her energy returned, and when she returned to her doctors for examination, the results surprised everyone. The condition had not progressed as expected. In fact, it showed signs of reversal that the doctors could not explain. She attributed her improvement to the medications and treatment she was receiving. But her husband knew that something more was at work. He knew that the prayers he had been speaking over her in the night had opened a channel for healing that transcended the physical interventions. The love that motivated his prayers had become a conduit for the healing power, and that power had reached her consciousness even while she slept, had begun the work of restoration even before she knew to ask for it herself. Over the following weeks, his wife began to change. Her spirits lifted, her color improved, her energy returned, and when she returned to her doctors for examination, the results surprised everyone. The condition had not progressed as expected. In fact, it showed signs of reversal that the doctors could not explain. She attributed her improvement to the medications and treatments she was receiving, but her husband knew that something more was at work. He knew that the prayers he had been speaking over her in the night had opened a channel for healing that transcended the physical interventions. The love that motivated his prayers had become a conduit for the healing power, and that power had reached her consciousness even while she slept, had begun the work of restoration even before she knew to ask for it herself. His experience taught him that prayer for others is not merely a gesture of sympathy, it is an actual transmission of healing energy, a real contribution to their restoration, and that those who love can serve as channels through which the infinite healing presence reaches those who have not yet learned to call upon it for themselves. His prayers had been as effective for his wife as they would have been for himself, for the healing power knows no distinction between self and other, and love becomes the bridge across which that power flows, the channel through which restoration reaches those who need it most. Many people believe that calling upon the name of God for healing requires lengthy sessions, elaborate rituals, hours of concentrated prayer, but this is not the case. The effectiveness of your prayer does not depend upon its duration. It depends upon its intensity, its conviction, its emotional reality. A brief moment of true faith accomplishes more than hours of weak petition. A few seconds of genuine conviction imprints the subconscious more deeply than lengthy prayers spoken without feeling. For the subconscious mind measures the importance of an impression not by how long it lasts, but by how deeply it penetrates, not by the number of words spoken, but by the feeling behind those words. 15 minutes of focused calling upon the name of God, done with complete faith and vivid visualization, can accomplish more than entire nights of anxious pleading and worried repetition. For anxiety and worry are not faith. And when you pray with anxiety, you are sending a mixed message to your subconscious. You are saying with your words that you believe while saying with your emotions that you doubt. Learn to enter quickly into the consciousness of healing. Learn to speak the name of God with immediate conviction, rather than working yourself up to it through long preliminary exercises. Learn to touch the healing presence directly and efficiently, and you will find that your prayers become more powerful even as they become shorter. Learn to enter quickly into the consciousness of healing. Learn to speak the name of God with immediate conviction, rather than working yourself up to it through long preliminary exercises, and you will find that your prayers become more powerful even as they become shorter. This does not mean that longer prayer sessions have no value, for extended communion with the infinite presence can deepen your relationship with the source of healing and strengthen your faith over time, but it does mean that the length of your prayer is far less important than its quality, and that a few moments of genuine faith outweigh hours of religious routine performed without conviction. What matters is not how long you pray, but how deeply you believe while you are praying, not how many words you speak, but how much feeling animates those words, not how much time you spend, but how completely you surrender to the healing presence. There are certain mistakes that people commonly make when calling upon the name of God for healing. Patterns of thought and speech that contradict their intentions and prevent the healing power from manifesting. And understanding these mistakes can help you avoid them in your own practice. The first mistake is begging and pleading, approaching the infinite healing presence as though it were a reluctant benefactor who must be convinced to help you. For this attitude implies that healing is uncertain, that it might not come, that you must somehow earn or deserve it. And this implication is received by your subconscious as doubt, which blocks the very healing you seek. The second mistake is trying to tell the healing power how to work, prescribing specific medical outcomes, rather than simply affirming perfect health and letting the infinite intelligence determine the means. For you cannot know all the ways in which healing might manifest, and by insisting on a particular path you may be closing doors that the healing presence would otherwise open. The third mistake is watching for results with anxious impatience, checking constantly to see if anything has changed, for this watching implies doubt. It suggests that you do not really believe your prayer has been answered, and the subconscious receives this implication and responds accordingly. Call upon the name of God with quiet authority, not with desperate pleading. Affirm the outcome and release the method. Speak your prayer and then trust that it is done without needing to verify it every hour. Call upon the name of God with quiet authority, not with desperate pleading. Affirm the outcome and release the method. Speak your prayer and then trust that it is done without needing to verify it every hour. The fourth mistake is allowing negative people and circumstances to erode your faith after you have prayed, letting the doubts of others become your own doubts, for the subconscious mind is influenced not only by your own thoughts, but by the thoughts you accept from others. And if you surround yourself with people who reinforce sickness and limitation, their influence can undermine the healing impressions you have worked so hard to establish. Guard your consciousness after you pray, protect the seeds you have planted, and refuse to let any external influence contradict the healing you have commanded. A woman said to Dr. Joseph Murphy that she had been calling upon the name of God for months without any apparent result. She had followed the instructions carefully, she had spoken her declarations faithfully, she had visualized and affirmed exactly as she had been taught, yet her condition remained unchanged and her faith was beginning to waver. When Dr. Joseph Murphy asked her to describe exactly how she prayed, she revealed the source of her difficulty. She would speak her healing declarations in the morning and then spend the rest of the day worrying about her condition. She would affirm health with her words and then contradict those affirmations with her thoughts. She was giving with one hand and taking away with the other. He explained to her that calling upon the name of God is not merely a morning ritual that can be forgotten for the rest of the day. It is a way of thinking, a pattern of consciousness, a commitment to hold the healing image regardless of what the physical senses report. She changed her approach. She began to catch herself each time she started to worry and immediately redirect her thoughts to the healing presence. She made her declarations not just in the morning but throughout the day. She refused to give her attention to fear no matter how loudly it called for her notice. Within weeks, she began to notice improvement. Within months, her condition had resolved completely, and she understood at last that the name of God has power, not because of the syllables, but because of the consciousness that holds those syllables, and that consciousness must be maintained consistently, not just in moments of formal prayer. She changed her approach. She began to catch herself each time she started to worry, and immediately redirect her thoughts to the healing presence. She made her declarations not just in the morning but throughout the day. She refused to give her attention to fear, no matter how loudly it called for her notice. Within weeks, she began to notice improvement. Within months, her condition had resolved completely. And she understood at last that the name of God has power not because of the syllables, but because of the consciousness that holds those syllables, and that consciousness must be maintained consistently, not just in moments of formal prayer. Her experience illustrates a principle that many people overlook, that the subconscious mind is impressed not by occasional moments of faith, but by the habitual pattern of your thinking. And if that habitual pattern is one of worry and fear, no amount of morning prayer can overcome its influence. For the subconscious responds to what you think most of the time, not just what you think during your dedicated prayer sessions. Once healing has manifested in your body, do not abandon the practice that brought it forth. Do not set aside the calling upon the name of God as though it were medicine that is no longer needed once the symptoms have disappeared. The practice of aligning your consciousness with the infinite healing presence is not merely a remedy for disease, it is a way of living. Ongoing relationship with the source of all life, a continuous partnership with the creative power that maintains your body. Continue to call upon the name of God in gratitude for the healing you have received. Continue to affirm health and wholeness as the natural state of your being. Continue to visualize vitality and wellness even when there is no specific condition to address. Prevention is as powerful as cure, and the consciousness that heals is also the consciousness that protects. The mind that can restore health can also maintain health. The power that rebuilds can also preserve. Those who return to their old patterns of thinking after their healing has manifested often find their conditions returning as well. Not because the healing was incomplete, but because they recreated the mental patterns that caused the disease in the first place. They return to the fearful, negative, limited thinking that blocked the flow of life force before. Make calling upon the name of God a permanent part of your life, not just an emergency measure to be employed in crisis. And you will find that you need it less often for healing because you will have less often created the conditions that require healing. Those who return to their old patterns of thinking after their healing has manifested often find their conditions returning as well, not because the healing was incomplete, but because they recreated the mental patterns that caused the disease in the first place. They return to the fearful, negative, limited thinking that blocked the flow of life force before. Make calling upon the name of God a permanent part of your life, not just an emergency measure to be employed in crisis. And you will find that you need it less often for healing because you will have less often created the conditions that require healing. The person who maintains constant communion with the infinite healing presence lives in a state of ongoing wellness. Their immune system functions at optimal levels. Their body repairs itself efficiently. Their energy remains high and their vitality strong. All because they have made the healing consciousness their habitual state of mind, rather than an occasional visitor in times of crisis. Every session of calling upon the name of God should conclude with gratitude, with thanksgiving offered as though the healing has already been accomplished. For gratitude is the highest form of faith. It is the emotional signature of completed manifestation. And when you give thanks for healing that has not yet appeared in the physical realm, you are declaring with your feelings that it exists already in the realm of mind. Do not thank God for healing that might come someday. Do not express appreciation for a possibility that may or may not manifest. Give thanks now, in this moment, for the healing that is already accomplished, for the wholeness that is already yours. for the restoration that has already taken place in the invisible realm and must therefore appear in the visible realm. This is not pretending, this is understanding how the creative process works. For everything that manifests in the physical world exists first in consciousness. Every outer condition begins as an inner state, and when you hold the inner state of gratitude for healing, you are creating the condition from which physical healing must emerge. Close your prayers with words like these. I give thanks that healing is accomplished. I am grateful that my body is restored. I rejoice in the wholeness that is mine now and forever. And as you speak these words, feel their truth. Let gratitude flood your entire being, for feeling is the creative agent that transforms words into reality. This is not pretending, this is understanding how the creative process works, for everything that manifests in the physical world exists first. Every outer condition begins as an inner state, and when you hold the inner state of gratitude for healing, you are creating the condition from which physical healing must emerge. Close your prayers with words like these. I give thanks that healing is accomplished. I am grateful that my body is restored. I rejoice in the wholeness that is mine now and forever. And as you speak these words, feel their truth. Let gratitude flood your entire being, for feeling is the creative agent that transforms words into reality. Gratitude also has a practical effect on your physiology, for when you feel genuine thankfulness, your body releases chemicals that promote healing, your nervous system shifts into a restorative mode, your immune function improves, and every system operates more efficiently, so that gratitude is not only a spiritual practice, but a physical therapy, not only an expression of faith, but an actual contribution to your healing, not only a state of mind, but a state of body as well. A man told Dr. Joseph Murphy that he had been practicing the method of calling upon the name of God for more than 10 years, not just for healing specific conditions, but as a way of life, as a daily communion with the infinite presence that sustains all existence. He reported that in those 10 years he had experienced transformation in every area of his life. His health had improved beyond what he could have imagined. His relationships had deepened and healed. His prosperity had increased steadily. His work had become more meaningful and successful, and his inner peace had grown to a level he had not known was possible. He understood now that the name of God is not merely a tool for fixing problems. It is a doorway into a different way of living, a connection to a power that wants to express itself through every aspect of your existence, a partnership with an intelligence that knows how to bring forth the highest and best in every situation. He no longer waited until he was sick to call upon the name of God. He no longer reserved this practice for emergencies. He spoke with the infinite presence every day, multiple times each day, in gratitude and praise and simple communion, and this ongoing relationship had transformed him from the inside out. His testimony was not merely about physical healing, though that had certainly occurred. It was about a complete revolution in his consciousness, a fundamental shift in how he experienced life. And all of it had come through the simple practice of calling upon the name of God with faith and consistency. He no longer waited until he was sick to call upon the name of God. He no longer reserved this practice for emergencies. He spoke with the infinite presence every day, multiple times each day, in gratitude and praise and simple communion, and this ongoing relationship had transformed him from the inside out. His testimony was not merely about physical healing, though that had certainly occurred. It was about a complete revolution in his consciousness, a fundamental shift in how he experienced life, and all of it had come through the simple practice of calling upon the name of God with faith and consistency. He had discovered what the mystics of every age have known, that the name of God is a gateway to a life of increasing blessing, that those who maintain constant communion with the infinite presence find that healing is only the beginning, that beyond healing lies transformation, and beyond transformation lies a life so full of grace and power and joy that it can only be described as miraculous. You have been given the key that unlocks the door to healing. You have been shown the practice that activates the infinite restorative power within your own consciousness, and now the question is simply this: will you use it? Will you call upon the name of God today, right now, before you close this book or turn off this recording? Will you speak to the healing presence within you and declare that restoration is taking place in your body at this very moment? The power does not depend upon your understanding all the theology behind it. The healing does not require that you figure out exactly how it works. All that is needed is that you call upon the name with faith, that you speak to the infinite intelligence with the expectation that it is listening, that you command healing with the authority of one who knows they are working with a law that cannot fail. Say these words now, or words like them in your own language. I call upon the name of God for my complete healing. I speak to the infinite healing presence within me and declare that perfect health is being established in my body right now. Every organ is being renewed. Every system is being brought into perfect harmony and balance. I give thanks that this healing is accomplished. I rejoice that wholeness is my natural state. I trust completely in the power that created me to heal me, and I expect with absolute certainty that the healing I have commanded must manifest in my body and my life. This is your invitation. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to experience the power that has always been available to you, waiting only for you to call upon its name with faith. Call upon that name today and watch healing work in your life. For the infinite intelligence that created you loves you. The healing presence that dwells within you is ready to respond. And the name of God, spoken with conviction, carries a power that transcends all limitation and accomplishes all restoration. Say these words now, or words like them in your own language. I call upon the name of God for my complete healing. I speak to the infinite healing presence within me and declare that perfect health is being established in my body right now. I affirm that every cell is being restored. Every organ is being renewed. Every system is being brought into perfect harmony and balance. I give thanks that this healing is accomplished. I rejoice that wholeness is my natural state. I trust completely in the power that created me to heal me, and I expect with absolute certainty that the healing I have commanded must manifest in my body and my life. This is your invitation. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to experience the power that has always been available to you, waiting only for you to call upon its name with faith. Call upon that name today and watch healing work in your life. For the infinite intelligence that created you loves you. The healing presence that dwells within you is ready to respond. And the name of God, spoken with conviction, carries a power that transcends all limitation and accomplishes all restoration. Do not wait for a more convenient time. Do not postpone this practice until you feel more ready. Do not tell yourself that you will begin tomorrow, for tomorrow never comes to those who wait. And healing is available now, in this present moment, to all who will simply open their mouths and call upon the name that carries within it all the power of the infinite, all the love of the divine presence that created you and sustains you and waits with infinite patience for you to discover what has always been yours. The journey you have begun today is the most important journey of your life. It is the journey from sickness to health, from limitation to freedom, from fear to faith, from desperation to confidence, from being a victim of your circumstances. The name of God that you have learned to call upon is not just a word. It is a power. It is not just a sound. It is a force. It is not just a prayer. It is a command that the entire universe must obey. You have within you right now everything you need to be healed. You have within you the same creative intelligence that formed you in the womb, the same healing presence that has been maintaining your body all your life, the same infinite power that created the stars and the planets and everything that exists. When you call upon the name of God, you are not asking for something that might be given. You are claiming something that is already yours. You are not hoping for a favor that might be granted. You are activating a law that must produce according to your faith. Go forth now with confidence. Speak healing into your body with authority. Call upon the name of God with the certainty that your call will be answered. And watch as the infinite healing presence transforms your body, renews your mind, restores your emotions, and brings you into that state of perfect wholeness that was always your birthright and is now your reality. Remember always that the healing power responds to your consciousness, not to your circumstances. It responds to your faith, not to your diagnosis. It responds to your expectation, not to your history. What matters is not what has happened before. What matters is what you believe now. What matters is not what the doctors have said. What matters is what you say to the infinite healing presence within you. The name of God carries within it all the power necessary to heal any condition, to restore any function, to transform any life, and this power is available to you right now, in this very moment, as you read these words. You are not alone in your healing journey. The infinite intelligence is with you. The healing presence walks beside you. The creative power that sustains the universe is focused entirely on your restoration. Call upon the name of God with confidence. Speak your healing into existence with authority. Maintain your faith regardless of what your senses report, and you will see with your own eyes the demonstration of a power that transcends all limitation and accomplishes all restoration. This is the truth that heals. This is the secret that transforms. This is the name that carries within it the fullness of divine power, and it is yours to use from this moment forward, today and every day, until your healing is complete and your wholeness is manifest for all to see. The infinite healing presence is calling to you right now. It is inviting you to step into a new relationship with your body, a new understanding of your power, a new experience of what is possible when a human being learns to cooperate consciously with the creative intelligence that maintains all life. You are not merely a physical body that is subject to disease and decay. You are a spiritual being, expressing through a physical form, and the spirit that you are has access to resources that transcend all physical limitation. When you call upon the name of God, you are speaking as the spiritual being you truly are. You are commanding with an authority that comes from your deepest identity. You are claiming a power that is your inheritance as a child of the infinite. Let nothing stand between you and your healing. Let no fear obstruct your faith. Let no doubt diminish your expectation. For the healing power is ready to flow. The restoration is prepared. The wholeness awaits you. And all that remains is for you to speak the name with conviction and receive what has always been yours. The name of God is on your lips. The healing power is in your consciousness. The restoration is taking place right now, and you are witnessing the demonstration of the most powerful force in the universe responding to your call with perfect faithfulness and unlimited love. Your healing journey begins in earnest from this moment forward, armed with the knowledge of how to call upon the name of God correctly, equipped with the understanding of how the healing law operates, empowered with the techniques that activate the infinite restorative power within your own consciousness. You will never again need to feel helpless in the face of illness. You will never again need to accept any verdict as final. You will never again need to wonder whether healing is possible for you, for you now know that the same power that has healed countless others throughout history is available to you right now. Call upon the name of God with faith. Speak your healing declarations with authority. Visualize your restored condition with clarity. Feel your wholeness with emotional intensity. Give thanks for the healing that is already accomplished, and then release your prayer into the infinite, knowing that the law is working, the power is flowing, and the restoration is manifesting. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. This is your invitation to experience the healing power that has always been within you, waiting only for you to learn how to call upon its name with faith.